Hello, my name is Adam and I'm pre-sales consultant at Stormit. Stormit, as an AWS Select consulting partner, can help you make the most of what AWS Cloud has to offer. Today, we will take a look at Amazon Route 53 DNS. All websites, computers and connected devices communicate with each other using IP addresses. Since the IP address is difficult to remember, the IP address is assigned a domain name that's usually easy to remember. A DNS service such as Amazon Route 53 helps to make that connection between domain names and IP addresses. So let's look on what Amazon Route 53 is capable of. At first, I will introduce Amazon Route 53, some of its features and how to set it up. Then we will look at Route 53 routing policies. After that, we will look at the benefits of Route 53 DNS. And then we will go to AWS Management Console and look in more detail at how to start using Route 53. As the last thing, I will try to describe how the pricing for Route 53 DNS works. So what is Route 53? It's a DNS service that connects the internet traffic to appropriate servers hosting the requested web application in AWS or any other origin servers. Route 53 takes its name with the reference to port 53, which is a DNS port. And because it's a AWS service, together with other AWS services, it forms scalable, flexible, secure, and manageable traffic routing for you. Route 53 can be used to perform three main functions: domain name registration, DNS routing with special routing policies, and health checking without coding requirements using the AWS Management Console. But there are more features available. We will talk about them right now. So what about Route 53 features? It works as a domain name register. You can also transfer your domain from other domain register. It also supports any of the most common record types such as CNAMEs, SOA records or NS records or any other most common records. And more you can see on the picture here. And it provides an extension to DNS known as alias records. This lets you route traffic to AWS resources such as CloudFront distributions, Amazon Elastic Load Balancers, and S3 buckets for free. We will be talking about the pricing later. Route 53 offers 7 types of routing policies that can help you with incoming traffic and point it to the right origin. It also provides health checks that allow you to monitor the health of select types of AWS resources or endpoints that can respond to requests. If you are interested, we have a video about health checks on our channel, so watch it if you want. And Route 53 have some other features. For example, Route 53 Resolver, DNS Firewall, Application Recovery Control, and Traffic Flow, but we will not be talking about that in our video today. And how to set up Route 53? First, you will need to register domain names in Route 53. It's normal that your website needs a name such as site.com, and you can register it right in Route 53, or you can migrate it from other register if you already have that. And there are 2 migration options in Route 53. You can leave your domain name with your current register, and basically you will need to just change the name servers there, or you can just migrate your domain name to Route 53. And as a second step, you will need to create a hosted zone for your site.com. So basically one hosted zone. And you have to choose the hosted zone type from public or private. The public are the most frequently used, and they specify how you want to route traffic on the internet. And private hosted zones specify how you want to route traffic in an Amazon VPC. And as a last step, you will create records and you will need to create these with routing policies applied to them, and they can be created for site.com, for instance, or subdomains like videos.site.com. So let's look on routing policies available in Route 53. Route 53 offers these policies to allow for efficient DNS requests. Once you got your domain up and running, you can choose a routing policy that best fits your needs. However, to get the most out of the service, you will need to properly understand the function of each policy types. And when you create a record, you choose a routing policy which determines how Route 53 responds to queries. We will look at these routing policies in the AWS Management Console, but here is a quick intro to them. The first one, which you can use, is simple routing policy, and you can use it when you have single resource that performs a given function for your domain, for example, application load balancer or CloudFront distribution. This is the most simple one and I think most used one. We will look at this routing policy in AWS Management Console. And the second here is weighted. This allows you to assign weights to resource record sets. For instance, you can specify 25% for one resource and 75% for another, meaning that 25% of requests will go to the first resource and 75% will be routed to the second resource. Third one here, geolocation. This lets you balance the load on your resources by directing requests to specific endpoints based on the geographic locations from which the request originates or your users come from. And the fourth one here is latency-based routing. You can use it when you have resources in multiple AWS regions and you want to route end users to the AWS regions that provides them the lowest latency. Fifth one is failover. Use when you want to configure active-passive failover. We already have one video that is focused on this type of Route 53 routing policy, so watch it if you want. Sixth, here is multi-value answer. Use when you want Route 53 to respond to DNS queries with up to 8 healthy records selected and at random. And the seventh is IP-based. This is a new policy that was introduced this year, and it's helpful when you need to fine-tune your DNS routing by using your understanding of your network, applications, and clients to make the best DNS routing decisions for your end users. So about the benefits of Amazon Route 53, the first one is that it's built using AWS highly available and reliable infrastructure and is designed to automatically scale to handle very large query volumes. Second is that it's secure, so you can manage permissions for each user in your AWS account and control who has access to which parts of the Route 53 service. And also, when you enable the Route 53 Resolver DNS firewall, you can configure it to check outbound DNS requests against a list of known malicious domains. The third one here is integrated routing policies. The routing of traffic based on different criteria such as latency, endpoint health, and geographic locations is advantageous. And the flexibility of Route 53 allows the configuration of multiple traffic policies and determines the activity of policies at particular point in time. And the fourth benefit is that it is using the global network. So a global network of Route 53 DNS servers is distributed around the world to help you take advantage of lightning fast speeds. The DNS database is replicated between regions, and this makes Route 53 a globally resilient service, meaning it can tolerate failure in one or more regions and continue to operate. And you only pay for the resources you use, such as the number of queries for each of your domains, the number of hosted zones, and optional features such as routing policies and health checks, all at a low cost and without minimum usage commitments or any upfront fees. For more information, see our article about it. You can find the link below. And as a sixth one, it's very compatible with other AWS services, and Route 53 can help in mapping domain names to services like Amazon CloudFront or Elastic Load Balancer, EC2 Instance, S3 buckets, or other AWS services and resources. And now we can look to AWS Management Console for how to create our first hosted zone and more about routing policies except for failover policy, which I already have in another video. So I am in the AWS Management Console, and first thing what I want to do is go to Route 53, and we will be creating our first hosted zone here. To do so, we need our domain, and you can register domain here under register domains, and you can click on register domain, and here you can buy any domain name available, but I already have one from Freenom, which is basically a service for free domains, and if you want to just test Route 53, you can create your own on freenom.com, and you can use it. We will be using it today, and to do so we can go back to Route 53. I will just choose Route 53 here, and as I have already said, we will be creating our first hosted zone. So I will click on create hosted zone, and it will be for my test 2022.cf. We will not be creating the subdomains. We can create them in records under our domain name. So it just be like this, and we don't need any description. And it will be public hosted zone. As you can see, the traffic is routed on the internet. This one we want. And we will click on create hosted zone. And as you can see, here is a first record, the NS record. And here are some NS servers, so name servers here. And we will need to add them to your domain name register. If you are using AWS, you will not need to do this. And I will do this in Freenom. So I will go to Freenom and just copy my domain name here for first name server, for second name server, etc. So like for domain servers. Okay. And the last one here. Okay, and I will click on change name servers. It could take some time to save it. We will go back if needed. And now we have our domain and hosted zone here. And because we will be using HTTPS, we will need our certificate. So I will go to ACM, which is Certificate Manager, and we will create new certificate. So basically here, request a certificate. And the one thing which will be needed is if you are in another region. Route 53 is global service, so you don't have to choose region, but for this we will need North Virginia region, and we will be requesting a public certificate. So choose public certificate, and here write your domain name. So for me it's my test 2022.cf, and we can add another name to this certificate, and I will add www.mytest2022.cf. You can also add one with asterisk, so the wildcard mytest2022.cf if you want, and we will be using DNS validation, which is very easy for Route 53. So I will be using DNS validation and click on request. And as you can see, this it was created successfully. We can click on view certificate, and here you will be able to create records in Route 53 for these three certificates. They will need basically create CNAME records in our hosted zone. So I will just click on create records in Route 53, and here just click on create records, and I can go back to Route 53, I think. Okay. And to our hosted zone, and to my test 2022, and you can see here that we have one record for MyTest and another one for www.mytest2022 validation. But it can take more than 30 minutes or up to 30 minutes till it's validated in ACM. So I will go back to Certificate Manager and check the status. I will show you how. You will just need to click on list certificates if this will not be shown to you. And here we will wait till it's validated. And after a couple of minutes, it's issued and validated, so it's fine. We can use this certificate in multiple occasions. One is Route 53 itself, where it's just validating the domain name, and for CloudFront distribution and ALBs or any other services which need these certificates, just so you know, if you are using, for instance, ALB in Europe, Frankfurt, or Asia Pacific, you will need another certificate there. These certificates are free from Amazon, so it's not a problem to have more than one in more regions. Just for CloudFront, you will need in North Virginia region. So now I will go to CloudFront and try to select this Amazon issued certificate for my CloudFront distributions that have origin in S3 bucket. So I will go to my CloudFront distribution, and here I will click on edit, and I will choose my certificate here, and as you can see, it's functioning, and I will just create CNAME records for my CloudFront distribution, so it will be mytest 2022.cf, and I will just add another one for www.mytest2022.cf, and we can save changes and go back to distributions. And the status here for this CloudFront distribution is now in deploying status. I can go back to Route 53, and we will create first record for this hosted zone. So my hosted zone here, and we will create our first record. So I will click on create record, and it will be for our domain. So basically like this. And if you want, you can switch to wizard And as you can see, here is a little bit simpler to choose the routing policy and do some settings. And first, the simple routing. It's the most basic one, and I think it's most used one. So this one is just so simple that you will choose this and click on define simple record. And we will just use these without any subdomains. And our endpoint here will be our CloudFront distribution. As you can see, it's in North Virginia. That's why you need your certificate in North Virginia. And I will just choose my CloudFront here. And we can actually create another simple record. So I will click on simple record here, and it will be for our subdomain www.mytest2022cf, and our endpoint will be the same here. So basically our CloudFront distribution, and I will define this record and click on create records. And as you can see, they've been added successfully. Okay, so I will try this. I already have something in my S3 bucket, so it should work right now. So I will go to my domain, and as you can see, our simple record, the first one, works. And if I go here, I can just try www.mytestcf, and it also works. So I will close this and go back. First, we will delete our two records for CloudFront distribution. We will not need them anymore. So I will just click on delete record, and we will go through our routing policies here. We have already done simple routing, and I have already described failover in another video. So watch it if you want, and we will go through another here. And the weighted record is very useful if you need to test something and you just need to route a couple of percent of your traffic to one of your resources. So it's good for testing, for instance. The geolocation, useful for those who have multi-region architectures globally and don't use CloudFront. You can route your users based on their location, and you have to choose one default region that will be used for locations that you don't specify. We have latency here that is similar to geolocation, but a little bit simpler to set up. You just choose a domain and multiple locations, and Route 53 will route your users to the resource with the smallest latency. And multi-value answer, it can be described as a very simple load balancing, but it also works across regions and use health checks, so it can be used if you need to create active failover routing. And the seventh here is a new policy. You will need to create IP CIDR block right here and know what IPs your users use. For instance, if you have a list of IP CIDR blocks for one country, you can specify where you want to route them. And this is everything for my demo, and we can go back to my presentation. So what about the Route 53 pricing? Typically, Route 53 doesn't tend to be a large cost center for the vast majority of businesses operating in AWS Cloud. But when deciding where you will buy or host your domain name, it can be difficult to understand the final cost of Route 53. Here you can see the bill from AWS, and here are some DNS queries, hosted zone, health checks, and health checks with optional features, and some intra AWS DNS queries. And for DNS queries, basically you pay for every DNS query answered by Amazon Route 53, but only for the one that go to other services or services from other providers than AWS. Basically, if you create alias record to Elastic Load Balancer or Elastic Beanstalk environments, CloudFront distributions, VPC endpoints, API gateways, or Amazon S3 buckets, you will not pay for these queries. and you will find them at Amazon Route 53 intra AWS DNS queries. And as you can see here, queries to alias records are free of charge. The second type of what you will pay is hosted zone, and you pay a monthly price for each hosted zone. You usually will need just one, like site.com, and you will pay 50 cents for every month for it. And here is also the pricing for health checks. The first 58 AWS endpoint health checks are free, and health checks against non-AWS endpoints are paid. And you will pay like 75 cents or $1 per every health checks. And for special health checks with optional features, you will pay extra if you enable special functions for health checks such as latency monitorings or fast checks. So you can use 10 seconds instead of 30 seconds, for instance. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos about AWS services, subscribe to our channel, or if you want to learn more about other services, visit our website and blog. Links are in the description below. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us.